I have finally done it. I finally watched AEW. Try to figure out as the video goes along if I'm enjoying the show or not. I know Peace watched AEW the other day, but that's him and this is me, and I'm the only one that matters, so shove it. Bit of a sad one today, so you better get your handkerchiefs out, girls. The seats are filthy. But this is one that I feel has to be done now, or you may riot. I'm gonna do it, so be quiet. Over a month ago now, we saw the sad passing of Luke Harper / Brodie Lee at the age of 41. Back in December, a common question on my videos was whether Brodie Lee's run in AEW would be featuring on Ring of the Hawk. I had not just one, but two problems with making that video. Working 2 jobs, having a fitness regime and trying to keep up a relationship is a real balancing act. Most of you heard me say it by now, but I'll repeat it. I've never watched AEW before. There just isn't time for me. I don't really watch anything, so this is a problem. You want me to make an episode remembering a guy on a show that I've never seen before. Problem 2. I was barely watching WWE after 2010, so ultimately, I don't know much about the guy, so how am I supposed to do his wrestling career justice? I don't really feel I'm qualified to make a video about him. Well, Ring of the Hawk is not really about that, is it? So stop whining and stop complaining. You just watch the matches back and you tell us if he's good or not, you moron. Plus, well, looking at his build, it sounds like the sort of wrestler I prefer to watch. 6'5", 275 pounds, and he has a fairly unique look. And I've got to watch AEW at some point, right? Plus RK over on Patreon told me to do it, so I better do it or he might smack me one. And of course, if you know a wrestler who could do the J-O-B to the H-A-W-K any night, any day, ha ha! Shove their name in the comments, Jack! Alright, let's do it. Brodie Lee, was he any good? Let's watch and see. Before his first match, he's introduced for a video package as the Exalted One. He keeps talking about the Dark Order, which is going to be some sort of clan that he's running, and he seems to be clashing with Christopher Daniels. He's then sat around a meal table with 2 scared looking men. He's lecturing them about what they have to do in AEW. He isn't letting the 2 men eat until he's finished, and then he yells at one of them for sneezing. He's a complete nutcase. I'm intrigued. Match 1, AEW Dynamite, QT Marshall, who thinks he's Carlito with his apple, or he's got an apple because he's taking it too literal that he's from the Big Apple, I don't know. And making his debut, Brodie Lee accompanied by a masked moron. The music is good, but during his entrance a video pops up with some people screaming, holding signs up about people farting. This rather ruined what was supposed to be a serious debut. Brodie boots QT straight in the face. He then throws him into the ring apron against the ring barrier. Brodie then gets him back in the ring and slingshots himself on top of him. Brodie hits a vertical suplex and straight after that, almost a brainbuster. It's not over yet because QT suddenly fights back with some punches and an enziguri. QT gets on the outside and hits another kick on Brodie. He then climbs up to the top, but Brodie dodges him and he hits him with a black hole slam. No pin yet though, as he picks him up and looks like he's going to go for a crossroads, and then instead he hits a discus lariat, and now it's over. I assume that was supposed to be a shot at Cody Rhodes or something, so I'm not going to mark him down for hesitating. Brodie stares intently at the camera after. He then has his follower drop a mask on top of QT, which is an invitation for him to join them. A good debut. This one could have really used a crowd, but I will have to get over that because it's not Brodie's fault, is it? It was just a short squash match that accomplished what it needed to do. I'll give it a C. Next week, Brodie is talking in front of a TV showing nothing but static whilst 3 masked men watch on. He invites one man to stand up next to him and he gets upset as he doesn't seem to refer to him as Mr. Brodie Lee. One of the masked men is yawning and Brodie looks annoyed, but at the same time it's sort of a funny expression on his face. He tells the man that nothing in the world is open and he has no reason in the world to be tired. Guess he hasn't ever tried running a YouTube channel. He tells the man that he's weak for yawning. Not sure if this is meant to be serious or not. Match 2, Lee Johnson versus our guy Brodie Lee. Lee misses a dropkick straight away and then Brodie kicks him down with a big boot. Then there's some little roadmen mouthing him off at the ring barrier. I had no idea who these guys were. Brodie hits a slingshot elbow into the ring. We then get a huge suplex that almost cripples Johnson. Brodie then nails him with a black hole slam. He finishes him off with a discus lariat. Not really a fan of his finisher, it doesn't look that devastating. Lee goes to talk to the roadmen on the outside again, but nothing happens. It was surprisingly less competitive than his debut, but I guess we're trying to build him up as a monster heel here. It's another C. Match 3. Justin Law, a man who has never seen the inside of a gym or a speck of sunlight in his life. He's so white that he's fluorescent. And he's taking on our man, Mr. Brodie Lee. Brodie absolutely batters him in the corner. He then throws him across the ring and hits a super kick. This match could be over, but Brodie continues suplexing him across the ring. Then he hits the black hole slam and his finisher lariat. It looks a bit more devastating this time. Best job match so far. I enjoyed seeing this podgy goon get thrown around the ring. It's a B for this job match. Brodie starts arguing with a girl who looks like Tracy Beaker at ringside, but nothing happens. Not sure why they keep showing this curly girl during his matches. Match 4. Tracy Beaker. Jesus, how many job guys are on this roster? To be fair, they might not all be on the roster, some of them might be making one-off appearances. But this one literally looks like an 8-year-old girl from an orphanage. And she's taking on our guy, Mr. Brodie Lee. Man, look at that size difference. This sort of looks uncomfortable. Beaker takes a boot to the face and then slaps to the boobs as she rolls around the ring crying like the little girl she is. Brodie hits an elbow in the corner and then throws her across the ring. She then tries to hit a dive on the outside but gets caught and then eats another kick. Why didn't Lee slam him? What was the point in putting her down? The match continues in the ring and Beaker tries to jump from the top, but Brodie catches her with a massive black hole slam. Brodie picks her up and hits a sit-out powerbomb, and it's over. I enjoyed that one. The girl didn't hit a single offensive move, and I was worried that they were going to do something stupid here. It's fun watching him throw midgets around. It's another B. Match 5. Christopher Daniels, who's already in the ring, versus Brodie Lee, who's accompanied by about 5 masked morons. Brodie has John Moxley's title with him as well. His main friend who's accompanying him to the ring has 10 written on his chest, and that's also his name. I haven't watched a Christopher Daniels match for a long time. I'm looking forward to this one. Daniels thinks he has him for pace and tries to do a crossbody, but Brodie catches him and hits him with a power slam. Brodie starts wasting time arguing with people on the outside, so Daniels hits him with a suicide dive. He follows that up with an Arabian moonsault and gets him back into the ring. He also hits him with an elbow drop and covers him, but Brodie kicks out almost straight away. Brodie is back to full health and hits a devastating big boot. Daniels is really struggling and Brodie slowly works him over. Brodie then hits a black hole slam, but Daniels kicks out. This isn't a standard squash match unlike the last 4. Brodie hits a super kick as Daniels kicks out again. He tries to go for another slam, but Daniels counters with a DDT. Daniels jumps from the top with a hurricanrana. Ten starts distracting the referee and Brodie gets a chair. Unfortunately, Daniels kicks it away and hits Brodie with the chair. He then locks in a submission and lots of random wrestlers start running and fighting in the ring. The match carries on and Daniels hits the Angel's wings, but Brodie kicks out at 1. Daniels hits the BME on Brodie, but he kicks out again, but it is getting closer. Daniels tries to jump from the top, but Brodie catches him with a powerbomb. The match ends with a discus lariat again. Best match so far. I like how he kicked out on most of Daniels' moves at 1. It was still competitive, but they got over that Brodie wasn't really getting damaged by Daniels' moves. So I'm grading the match for what it is, and it wasn't a glorified squash match. So to compare it to an average wrestling match, it's a high C. Moxley comes out and beats all the masked morons up and Brodie runs away like a little girl. So it's now a low C. Match 6, AEW Double or Nothing 2020. AEW World Heavyweight title. Brodie Lee has the World Heavyweight title, though he's not actually the champion. And he's taking on the real champion, who is Jon Moxley, a man who looks extremely unwell. Moxley runs straight at Brodie, who shoves him into the corner and beats him. Brodie then spills to the outside and Moxley dives onto him with the suicide dive. Seconds later, Brodie suplexes him on the outside. Brodie gets back in the ring and continues hitting the suplexes. Brodie then takes a page out of Moxley's book with his own suicide dive to the outside. Brodie carries on his attack on the outside and hits a pump handle suplex onto a ring barrier. Back in the ring, Brodie hits a suplex that doesn't take Moxley down and he hits him with a clothesline. Moxley then hits a pile driver just seconds later. I wish these two would just slow it down a bit and sell the effects of the moves. It's hard to follow what's going on here. You shouldn't be flying around the ring seconds after being suplexed onto a piece of metal. Moxley starts moving some steel steps around and both men drop kick each other on the outside. Brodie marches Moxley up the steps, but he can't hit a move because he gets thrown overhead and through the little table. They then get back in the ring and Brodie is already up and healthy again, and he suplexes Moxley from the top. He tries to pin him, but Moxley reverses the pin for a 2 count. Moxley continues running everywhere, but Brodie hits a release German suplex through the playing card picture. It has Moxley's face on it, so Brodie stamps on it. Then he slams Moxley on it. They both get back in the ring and Brodie hits a big boot, and then he picks him straight up and nails a powerbomb for the 2. Moxley starts snorting all over himself and going nuts. He tries to get up, but he collapses and falls out the ring. They fight on the entrance ramp and it looks like Brodie's going to hit a move, but Moxley gives him a diving DDT as they crash through the ramp. A bunch of little nerds come out to try and help, and Moxley emerges from the hole first. Brodie does make his own way out, but he's busted open. Brodie tries to hit the discus lariat, but Moxley dodges and hits the DDT again. Brodie kicks straight out and Moxley starts pounding him with anger. Moxley hits a third one, but this time with even more authority, but Brodie kicks out again. Moxley then locks in a sleeper and Brodie passes out. Pretty good, just wish they could slow down and sell a bit more. I know a lot of believability has been killed in wrestling, but I just can't believe that someone is thrown overhead into metal and is running around fine just 10 seconds later. This sort of thing happened all throughout the match. Maybe I'm just not used to this new modern wrestling style. I need to stop being such an old bastard. This one was just missing a bit of something, but it's an excellent match overall and it's a B. Match 7, Colt Cabana teams with our guy Brodie Lee, whose little masked men come to the ramp with him, but look stupid and I don't know who they are. This really reminds me of James Storm's Revolution faction, where a main eventer took a bunch of jobbers and tried to repackage them, but they ultimately all failed. They're taking on Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela, who are already in the ring. Sonny Kiss tries to take Brodie out, but Brodie throws Kiss across the ring. Joey Janela then runs straight at him with no results. Brodie then lets Colt wrestle the match. Brodie interferes and boots Janela. The match runs a lot longer than expected. Janela hits a moonsault to the outside on Brodie Lee. This match is killing the guy and dragging him down to a lower level. He should be destroying these guys in a second. Brodie's masked morons get involved, and then Brodie hits a boot on the outside, so now he needs help to win against these guys. Joey Janela then dives on him from the outside, but it doesn't go well for him. Back in the ring, Brodie hits a discus lariat that for some reason is cut out of the stream. He then gives the pinfall to his partner Colt Cabana as a sign of trust. Really didn't like this match. It was way too combative and devalued Brodie at the same time. It's a D. Match 8, 6-man tag, SoCal Uncensored, which is basically Bad Influence with an extra guy called Scorpio Sky. And they're taking on Brodie Lee, Colt Cabana, and a guy who wasn't introduced to me. If you're wondering why Colt Cabana is with this group, the clue's in his name. Shut up or I'll smack you one. Brodie Lee's little clan watch from the ramp. There's now a fat guy in a purple suit. Bad Influence fight the unknown beardy boy, but they keep cutting to shots of Brodie Lee's beady eyes watching. Brodie finally gets in the ring for the first time and he uppercuts Scorpio Sky in the corner. He follows that up by decapitating Sky on the ropes. Brodie once again looks like just another guy in this matchup. All three guys take turns hitting moves on Scorpio Sky, but he's still somehow in this one. Sky finally tags out and Brodie Lee gets kicked by Kazarian. Kaz then springs off the ropes and hits a DDT for a 1 count. Brodie retaliates with a kick, but Bad Influence work together to get another 1 count. Brodie then destroys them again. Scorpio Sky then drop kicks Brodie Lee out the ring. He soon runs back into the ring and hits a black hole slam on Kazarian. Daniels nails a nice dive on Brodie on the outside. Daniels thinks he has the match won, but Brodie floors him with a discus lariat. Like last match, Brodie tags Cabana in and allows him to get the pin. It was better than the last one, but these multi-man matchups seems to be overshadowing Brodie. Does he really need all these guys around him? I think he'd be better on his own. It's a C. Match 9, 12-man tag. It's the Elite versus Brodie and the Masked Morons. Brodie starts out getting made to look stupid by the Bucks, aka the Mumbai Cat. He doesn't like it, so he knocks one of them down with a clothesline. Brodie tags out because he wasn't doing very well. Brodie's little minions do most of the work in this match. If I could rank his team's character work minus Colt Cabana, it would be 0. Brodie finally gets in and hits the black hole slam on the brown haired buck for a 2 count, and then he leaves. They do a better job in this match of making Brodie stand out. He's clearly stronger and more important than all the other guys on his team. He decks Kenny Omega on the outside. This is a really enjoyable match, to be fair. The match has a story. This is essentially a handicap match because most of the other team leave the match because one of their guys gets injured. Not sure why it took half their team to help one guy to the back though. Brodie carefully watches Adam Page moonsault onto his entire team from the ring apron, but he does nothing about it. But this isn't being marked down on Ring of the Hawk because he's clearly trying to get over what a freaky character he is. He's trying to scare Adam Page, and then he lets our guy get the tag. They have an intense face-off, but the numbers advantage eventually gets the advantage of Page again. Brodie hits a suicide dive to the outside. Brodie then tries to hit the discus, but instead he gets a double super kick from the Bucks. Brodie then gets double super kicked again, but this time into a German suplex. Then the match ends out of nowhere as Brodie hits a giant lariat on Adam Page. That left him in another postal code. Love this one, love the 2 stories that it's telling, with the Elite having to work against the numbers advantage, and also the evolution of Colt Cabana being with the bad guys. I heard a lot of stuff about how the wrestlers on this show didn't tell stories in their matches, but this one certainly did. It's an A. Match 10, main event, the TNT title. Brodie Lee versus the champion Cody, accompanied by Arn Anderson. Cody has really slimmed down since I last saw him. He's now billed at £219. No comment. Brodie floors Cody straight away with a dropkick, and then he launches him out the ring. He follows up by booting Cody over the crowd barrier. Brodie Lee starts flipping out in the crowd, throwing chairs around. They get back in the ring and Brodie hits a back suplex. Brodie then hits a release German suplex. Cody hasn't hit a single move at this point. Brodie hits a couple of kicks and gets a 2 count. The commentary team start discussing what a large man Cody Rhodes is. Wow, how times have changed. 219 pounds. I think we need a new definition of heavyweight in this modern age. In the past it was around the 260 pound mark, and that's when it starts to get into powerful territory. Brodie picks him up and drives him into the mat of a powerbomb. He picks him up and gives him a second one. I was not expecting this. Brodie hits the discus and then makes the cover for the 3. New champion. The cool thing is that Brodie did it with zero help, cheating or ref bumps. Really good performance. It's looking good for our guy. Match only went a few minutes though. It was essentially a high profile squash match, so it's a B. Match 11, AEW All Out 2020. The Masked Morons versus QT Marshall, Dustin Rhodes, Scorpio Sky and Matt Cardona. Brodie isn't in the match for a while, but eventually he comes into the match and hits a back body drop on QT. Unfortunately then tags himself back out. Evil Uno looks like an obese shark boy, or the Ribena man, either is fine. I don't know what's so evil about him either. This is a bad match, it's just a bunch of wrestlers moving around with no momentum or purpose. Brodie keeps screaming, "Where's Cody?" QT Marshall kicks out the most ridiculous bunch of moves in a row. Is he supposed to be one of AEW's top stars or something? Because the way he kicked out of all those moves made me think he was. Alright, stop being an old bastard, it's just the way wrestling is nowadays. Brodie hits the lariat on Dustin, but as usual he tags in Colt Cabana to give him the pinfall. Colt stupidly doesn't pin him though and tries a moonsault. He misses the moonsault and gets rolled up. Why is Brodie so obsessed with Colt Cabana? He just seems like a massive goof. If I was him, I'd rather win the match myself. Brodie throws a tantrum after the match. Then he yells at Colt. However, Evil Shark Boy gives him a hug. I can't believe this was on a pay-per-view. It was boring and pointless, and Brodie barely did anything in the match. It's an S. Shove it, man! Match 12, main event, the TNT title. Dustin Rhodes versus the champion Brodie Lee, who's accompanied by some happy bald man. This is all about Dustin trying to seek redemption for Cody, but it's not really as if Brodie did anything wrong, he just convincingly beat him. That's not his fault. They fight on the outside of the ring. Dustin kicks the bald boy down. Pretty funny. Brodie tries to throw the crowd barrier on top of Dustin, but he's unable to unhook the barrier. It's pretty slow until Dustin finally starts a comeback. Dustin hits a jumping top rope hurricanrana. Dustin continues doing well and hits a Canadian destroyer for a 2 count. Dustin gets another 2 count straight after with the crossroads. Brodie finally fights back with a kick and a powerbomb for a 2 count. Dustin tries a pile driver but he can't get him up, so he has to try again. He does hit it this time though. Dustin hits a clothesline for a 2. Brodie really hasn't looked dominant in this match. Brodie hits a couple of kicks and then out of nowhere a discus lariat and it's over. No, not convincing at all. After the match, Brodie kicks him in the nutsack. It was a good match though, but not from Brodie's perspective. It was just a showcase for Dustin. It's a C. Match 13, TNT title match. The challenger is Orange Cassidy versus our guy, the champion, Brodie Lee. Is this guy really going to wrestle in jeans? I have no idea what's going on. Brodie boots him down before I can figure that one out. Cassidy tries a dive, but the little Colt catch him. Brodie then dives on top of all of them. Brodie plants him with the black hole slam and it should be over, but the blue jean boy kicked out. He's so small and skinny that one of Brodie's legs is the size of his entire body. I don't know why this match is going on for so long. If the purpose is to make Brodie look like a killer, he should kill him quickly and ruthlessly. Brodie tries to hit a clothesline and the little boy keeps falling over. Suddenly he's fighting back. He hits a dive on Brodie on the outside. Not once but twice, and it sure wasn't nice. Then he throws Brodie back into the ring. He takes out 3 guys on the outside on his own. Back in the ring. Okay, this is ridiculous. Orange Cassidy somehow stacks Brodie on his back and gets a 2 count on a move. Man, Brodie has really gone downhill since winning this belt. Brodie finally does win the match with a powerbomb and the discus lariat. I get that wrestling has changed and evolved, and you can call me an old bastard till the cows come home, but I cannot buy that this would be a competitive match. It just makes Brodie look weak. I get that people like this blue jean boy, but can't they have him beating up people who don't matter as much? Cody returns after the match and now he has brown hair, so I guess that means it's on. The match is a D. I did not care for it. Match 14, final match. TNT title, dog collar match. Cody Rhodes with Brandy Rhodes and Arn Anderson versus the champion Brodie Lee with Anna Jay and the small smiling bald man. Cody takes out the happy bald man straight away, but he's not happy because Brodie boots him straight in the face. Cody completely misses a springboard cutter and Brodie drags him to the outside. Brodie drops him face first on the ring apron. Cody has time once again to take out the happy bald man. Back in the ring, Brodie clotheslines Cody with the chain. The man with the name that rhymes with Cody hits a DDT. Cody is now busted open and he's really struggling. Cody manages to fight back with a chain-assisted nut shot and a Russian leg sweep. Now on the outside, Cody hits a suicide dive. They start fighting on the ring apron and Cody drags Brodie off of it to hit a cutter onto the floor. Damn. Cody tries to send Brodie Lee through the table and his perseverance pays off as he hits a package pile driver through a table. Brodie's now busted open. Cody gets him in the ring for a 2 count. Cody's getting cocky and demands that Brodie Lee gets up. Cody drops him face first and starts using the chain as a weapon. Brodie recovers and gets a 2 count with a black hole slam. Brodie launches a chair at Arn Anderson and he looks livid and tries to attack Brodie in the ring. Cody gets another 2 with a moonsault. Brodie tries to kick Cody, but he dodges it and hits him with the crossroads, but Brodie kicks out straight away. Brodie goes for a kick, but he falls over, and then he hits a powerbomb on the chain, but Cody kicks out at 2. We then get a double down after a superplex. Once they've got up, Brodie hits a released German suplex, but both men keep countering each other. Cody wraps the chain around the mouth, nose and eyes and pounds on Brodie Lee. Then he hits the crossroads, and it's over. Pretty hardcore match there, I give it a B. This was obviously his last match, but in true unfitting fashion it was probably his best match on Ring of the Hawk. Just after this he went on a TV hiatus with an undisclosed injury. He was then hospitalised and passed away of a lung issue at the age of just 41. It was interesting to see a bad guy faction leader who didn't rely on cheating to win. He was definitely more athletic than a lot of the big guys I've seen. He was pretty good on the mic too. I think ultimately this stupid faction worsened him and dragged him down. He didn't need them. We also didn't get to see the conclusion to whatever they were brewing between Brodie Lee and Colt Cabana. I can tell you for sure, if Brodie Lee was still with us, I'd definitely give him a place on the Ring of the Hawk roster, and it would be a pleasure to have him do the JOB to the HAWK every night and day. Give him a B for this run, a great big man. Just to wrap this up now, I'm sure someone will ask what I actually thought of AEW, seeing as it was my first time watching the product. It was good to rule out some of the misconceptions I had about the show. There's some good wrestling matches with good psychology. I don't know if I saw enough of the product to know if the storylines are any good. I will say though, everyone who said that the wrestlers were small was pretty much spot on, they weren't lying. I still don't know if this show's for me or not, I just find it really hard to get into any wrestling at the moment without proper audiences. I think I'm going to put one of those old bookmarks in AEW until the audiences return. We need those boys back in full force, and if you don't agree with that, I'll slash you with my claws.